Yeah, man. No, it's been dope. Yeah, right. 73 episodes. I'm learning so much, meeting so many cool people. Honestly, it's just inspiring. Sometimes I leave these things and I just got to go start recording my own things, you know? Take the advice. Yeah, either way, I'm going to see you next week. I'll see you next week. All right, peace. What's up, people? My name is CHRVNS. This is Shut Up and Listen, and we want to say thank you so much for being tapped in for so long. Yeah, you heard that right. 73 episodes. And for our 74th, we're going to do something very special. We're going to release the first episode we ever recorded. Mind you, we had no idea what we were doing. We were just winging it, going for it. And honestly, we all love this episode dearly. This episode will include Pantsuitguy and No Guts. So check it out here. Next week, 75th episode, we got something special. Bellingham exit. See you there. Looks like we finally made it. First episode, we are here. Welcome to Shut Up and Listen. This is a Bellingham music podcast where we want to make sure that you know everything that's going on in the community. Making sure you're being able to tap in and just follow and just learn more about every creative in this town and the greater area. My name is CHRVNS.
My name is Morgan Kramer.
And I'm Brent Cole.
And we are here to bring you the sauce. So check it out. Basically, this podcast is going to be practically formatted after like What's Up magazine. If you're not familiar, we do have Brent Cole with us. You want to tell us a little bit about the vision of bringing this together here?
The idea of the podcast is to do essentially a audio or podcast version of what What's Up had been. What's Up closed in March of 2020 with the pandemic and wasn't ever able to reopen. And this is kind of the next evolutionary step. So we'll cover local bands coming through town. When it works, we'll cover live reviews, recorded music, talk about some of the things that are going on in the community, talk about the calendar. We're going to cover the things that What's Up did coming out every month and have some other surprises in there as well.
And I'm excited for this. I'm grateful to be here. I'm excited to be here. Morgan, how you feeling?
I'm so excited.
I'm saying. And I think one thing that I'm really interested in incorporating is actually having people's feedback and having a community-based project.
Absolutely.
You know?
That was one of the things about What's Up that was that I enjoyed being the editor, is being able to work with different people, whether they're doing live reviews or whether they're covering some, doing an interview with a band, whatever it is. So the evolutionary goal for the project is to incorporate other voices and other people's thoughts and feelings and whatever you're digging, whatever you're hearing that turns you on, let us know. And if you want to be part of this project, if you want to contribute in some way, I'm sure we're going to have contact information right available for you.
Probably just Shut Up and Listen, BHAM, all platforms. Easy as that, yeah?
Same name on everything.
Same name. And see, that's real hard to do sometimes, but I'm glad we got away with it. So, that's a blessing right there. But also, let's make sure that we're not forgetting some very important people. We do have AJ, Chester and Friends. We have my boy Jim
Pigeon.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Don't ever play with him, bro. He the realest. And then, of course, Tom Culver, he first of all, very good friend of mine. He helped me make my first piece of merch ever. So I will always be in debt to him.
Nice.
I love that guy. And last but not least, Bob. Binary
Bob. Yeah.
Binary Bob. I thought it was recording in studios.
No, and we're going to, we are doing this in the Binary Recording Studio.
Tell them about it.
And it's been around for, this is the place, and has been going on even pre What's Up. Bob was recording local music and has continued being a piece of this community for years, and it's an honor, and I don't use that word lightly, to be able to do this here.
It is.
Yeah.
And you know what? I know one of my favorite things about this is that we're going to be bringing not only the history, but the future of music in Bellingham together. So I think we should just go ahead and hop into this first interview and bring on a very cool band. If that's cool with y'all.
Love it. Let's go.
Can't wait.
Hello.
We have a very special guest here today, Pantsuitguy. How y'all doing today?
Really good.
Very good, thank you.
Heck yeah.
Well, you guys make some really cool stuff. First of all, what's the little? Can I talk about the future one? The feature.
Oh yes.
Oh
yes.
man, I tell you. So sent me what's the name of it?
Smooth.
Smooth. And sent me a song called Smooth, and it's so smooth, can't believe it's not butter. I swear, yo, it's so dreamy and poppy. I'm so ready. So how? When you sit down, what's the motivation? What's the spark that you get?
For that one, I've been listening to a lot of this newer artist, Malcolm Todd and Steve Lacy. And there's this one time that Calvin put the internet on in the car.
When we were
Love the
driving to
internet.
practice
Yeah.
in Seattle.
And I was like, man, I wanna make something tasty.
I like that description.
Yeah. And it was like a fever dream making it. I don't even remember making it.
When Jules sent that snippet in the band group chat, I literally like had to set my phone down and like walk away. I was like, oh my God. It's like, Jules, this is so good.
No, that one's gonna be dope. It's just like the super verbed out vocals and whatnot too. Chef's kiss on that.
Thank you.
Do you have an approach when songwriting, or is it just kind of whatever comes off the top of your head in the moment?
It really is whatever I'm thinking about in that moment. Yeah, I don't really have a process. I feel like a lot of people do, but just what comes from the
Just
heart.
what you're feeling.
Basically, you're going right from inspiration to going into a new song and
Yeah.
going into the writing process. Do you come up with the songs yourself, or does then the whole band flush it out, or do you come in with parts already determined for everybody else?
I think it's a little complicated because 98% of the time I'd say that I am the sole songwriter.
Okay.
But in terms of live interpretation, that's where Calvin comes in. But
Saucy.
no, but Calvin's so talented that I do want him on future stuff. So we gotta schedule a time to get Calvin.
In the stew. Yeah, it's hard. Everyone's busy and everyone's got projects,
I
but
was like, yeah, you guys are all in like separate bands on top of this band, so to schedule
Yeah, let's
studio
talk about
time
that.
for that.
Well, yeah, I mean, we kind of like jumped right into it, and there's a little bit of back
Yeah,
with
let's-
the band. You know, how did y'all come together as a band? How long have you been playing? You know, kind of if you could flesh out some of those details, would be awesome.
Right, yeah. So I met Calvin because my old roommate was in an English class with him.
medieval literature.
Yeah.
What, bro?
That was like the last quarter I was at Western before I stopped going again. But yeah, I was in Shelby.
Yes, shout out Shelby.
Yeah, we were sitting next to each other. And yeah, it was medieval literature class. And yeah, I saw her at your hookup show. And they're like, oh, you're in that class. I'm like, yeah.
But even before that, I saw you at the first Blue Room show ever with Roland.
Oh, yeah,
And I
yeah.
saw you,
grand opening.
and I was standing there next to Shelby, and that's the guy from my medieval literature class. he's really nice. And I was like, he's pretty good at bass too. Yeah. So when I was like concocting the lineup, I was like, that guy Calvin would be great.
He's a nice guy. Let's get him
Yeah.
in there.
Very lucky.
So how many bands are each of is like every member in
Oh, God.
with this? Yeah, we're digging now.
Oh,
We're
man.
in there now.
So I'm loosely in 3. I play in our other guitarist Ryland's solo project. So I play in that, and then I also play in Girls Know, also with Ryland. Ryland and I are in 3 bands together. And then also Pantsuitguy, yeah.
So is it Pantsuitguy just you two and Rylan, or
It's me, this guy Calvin, Ryland, and then our drummer Jules.
Okay.
So there's two Jules.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Not to be confused with one another. But Jules and I are going to start another group called Jules, where it's just the two of us and we face each other on stage.
I will be at every show.
That'd be dope. That'd be dope.
It's going to be like super experimental. And by experimental, I mean I'm going to be the one playing drums with zero experience. So it's just going to be random. I don't even know what to expect.
Organized chaos, it sounds like.
Yes, yeah. But speaking of Jules is also in Biblioteca.
Oh, yeah.
And
Cottage Corpse.
Cottage Corpse, yes. So busy. And then Ryland's also in the Carries. So we're all spread out.
Then how do you work practice schedules and what songs are for this band versus this band, and how do you keep the dynamic that's specific for Pantsuitguy versus other projects?
Yeah, so for Girls Know, like Paul is the main songwriter for that, and sometimes he'll call us in like, can you record this bass line for me really quickly today? So it's like that's mostly his brain. Okay. Pantsuitguy is definitely mostly my brain. But I'm open to collaboration. Like with Rylan or mystery guests in the future. Wink, wink, wink. Griffins. Yeah, so in terms of practice, we don't really practice as much as I have in other groups, because I trust everyone so much with their skill.
Okay.
It's just like...
So you come into show, do you practice just before a show, but you're recording the material at home on your own?
Yeah, and then I'll kind of send it to the group chat when I've made something new. And then everyone will individually practice, or will send me individual questions. I think we've only had like 3 practices as a band.
3 or 4. We practiced before the Blue Room show a lot, I feel like, and then that was kind of it's just been winging it ever since. I will say this is the only band I've really ever like practiced on my own for. Maybe that exposes me a little bit, but all other bands I've been in, we practice often enough, and I don't feel like I like have to practice. Like I get in the band setting, we start playing, I've got them, but this one, the songs are a lot more like groovy and like dynamic, so like there are bass lines to learn and like add my own stuff to. So like I've never really like been in a band where I'm like practicing on my own this much, and also I like don't want to let anyone in the group down, so staying prepared. But yeah,
it's awesome though, because you guys have such good chemistry all together. I wouldn't have guessed that majority of your practicing is all individually, because it seems like you guys just are playing together more frequently than when you see you guys on stage. There's like the vibe, the chemistry all in the room. So that's cool.
I think it's also just that everyone in this group is so kind and so naturally talented.
Very important.
Yeah, and that's genuinely the only thing that matters.
Because you can be really good at something and be an asshole, and that just changes the dynamic of everything.
Right. Yeah. But it's easy to have good chemistry with nice people, you know?
All right, I'm going to throw a curveball y'all way, because I've been wondering this.
Oh.
What is the first CD that you purchased ever in your life?
Oh my gosh, this is so embarrassing. Okay.
You have no idea.
We go around the whole room just to make it even fair game.
No, I vividly remember it. I must have been 7 or something, 6 or 7. And it was during the time that McDonald's would put Kids Bop CDs in Happy Meals.
That was the best era.
I forgot about that.
And so I got a free Kids Bop CDs with 5 songs on it. And my mom kind of looked at it and was like, I don't really know if you should be listening to this, Juliet. But I found where she had hid it. I'm so sorry, Mom, to fess up to this. And I had a CD player in my room that I hid under my bed. And at night, I would take my headphones and I'd listen to the Kids Bop version of a bunch of Rihanna songs. Yeah.
You got a good one.
That was
there.
that's a good, that's a good CD.
Yeah, I've never fessed up to that though.
You ever heard that?
It was like
True confessions.
probably like 9 or 10 o'clock at night. And I'd be like, but only the kids bop versions.
So they're good for kids. It's okay.
Before that, y'all ever heard the Mariah Carey "We Belong Together" Kids Bop version? You know how she holds that note at the end? Just look it up after this. All listeners, check this out too. Just look it up. Mariah Carey, "We Belong Together" Kids Bop version. There's this one kid on there. I don't know why they let it pass, but they could not hold the note.
They didn't even try to auto-tune it.
They said this is for kids by kids. They're not gonna notice.
Man, I'm racking my brain. I'm pretty sure the first CD that like I ever consciously bought when I was like 8, I think. I had gone to like Disney World or Land or one of the two. I think it was World. And they had a Cirque du Soleil show there. You know, the like circus.
Oh, yeah.
absolutely.
Very, very
acrobats.
familiar.
And my dad
Yeah.
took me to this Cirque du Soleil thing, and I remember like 9-year-old, 8-year-old me, like mind being blown. And there's these people rolling around in these wheel things, and there's this one song that they played when the wheel guys were out, and I like got like super obsessed with it, and I like bought a CD just so I could have that song that they played when these like acrobatic wheel guys were rolling around, and I got like super obsessed with it and played it on my CD player for like 3 weeks.
That's a really good story.
That's a great story.
I don't even remember, but it had this violin part that I remember 8-year-old me was just like crazy. It's like, yeah, I was all stoked on it.
Sample it.
I bet I could find it. That
And
CD's
sample
probably on Spotify or something.
So you just released. We'll go back to
Yeah, my bad. I just wanted to do
We'll go
something
back to
else.
that. I'm not getting into what I bought. Well, that's a different story for a different day.
Oh,
save
man.
So you just released some new music. Can you tell us about the process?
Greatest EP ever.
Oh, not gonna.
EP of the year.
Yeah. Gosh. So I had just a bunch of demos on my computer from high school from the past like 7 years, I think, and just a bunch of ideas or lyrics that I had written over the past 7 years, and I was like, it's just time to put it out. It's time to release it and then move on. Just start making new stuff, and I want to
Gotta let it
release my
go.
newer stuff. Yeah. But yeah, like Bouquet was so easy. It was so easy to make. I had made that riff probably 3 years ago. Bug. And I really liked it. And then I never knew what to say over it or what to sing over it. And it just fell into my lap. And it was another one of those situations where it felt like I genuinely blacked out. And then all of a sudden it was finished. And then,
Does that happen to you often with your writing? Is that something where you feel almost like that's when you black out, then you know something good is coming out of
Yeah.
it? Kind of that, when you get in that transcendental space, does that give you confidence in how you're creating, knowing that?
Totally, yeah. Because I feel like the moments that I'm almost disconnected from what I'm making is when I'm making the most simple, raw form of my music.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I could arguably say that it happened for every song on the EP. And then, of course, Please Hold with Rylan. That was so fun to make. Yeah, I wanna make Rylan do something with me again because I had such a good time. We just went up to the parking garage that's kind of by the Buff.
Yeah.
And we sat up there, and we had this riff that we had made, and we just played it over and over and over again, and we both kind of wrote our parts, and then we looked at each other, and then we showed each other, and then we were like, okay, let's go record it. Yeah, Please Hold was done within like a week. But yeah,
Those are always fun when it just goes.
It just kind of happens.
Yeah.
Well, what's next? What's next for the band? Are you do you have local shows? Are you going out on tour anytime? Is the whole kind of collective going out on tour?
We need to know.
When's that next show?
When's that next show?
Well, the next show is in Seattle because we're mostly targeting Seattle. But I'm looking into doing some stuff in Olympia and Portland soon too. And also I kind of got this weird job lined up, so maybe even Los Angeles and around my hometown in Southern California soon too. But the next show is July 1st at an art gallery and bar. I think it's called the Vermilion, and it's through this traveling art show called Soapbox, and they just go to a random city and they'll contact a bunch of musicians and be like,
that's dope.
Hey, be in our show, and then a bunch of artists will have their stuff there too. So,
that sounds really cool.
Yeah,
Sounds familiar, like almost like a so far kind of thing.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like that.
That's dope. I love it.
I'm really excited.
I'm excited for y'all.
Yeah.
And then may all the blessings come with your endeavors, and you have the most success. Because I'm gonna be fanning over here to the end of time. And we do appreciate y'all coming out today.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for being the first guest.
First guest.
I mean, like the inaugural, first time we're putting this podcast out, and y'all are stamped in as the very first ones. So.
Thank you so much for
Was
having
that
us. Yeah.
That's my.
Sorry, you were. We just talked over you because he had his sound effects.
We had to-
Yeah,
We
exactly.
gotta get you like a little launch pad.
No, the mouth ones are way more.
I'm gonna bring the machine in though. Once I have sound effects, it's game over.
I like the vocal ones.
Yeah, vocal ones are better.
Thank you guys so much for joining us, though. It was great to have you guys.
Yes, thank you
Thank
for
you.
having
Thank
us.
you.
Yes.
We'll be right back after these messages. Hey, music lovers. Want to be part of something bigger than just another music app? Check out Subjam. It's more than just streaming, it's a movement. Founded on the spirit of DIY and grassroots energy, Subjam is here to support music communities, promote free and open content, and help artists fill venues. You remember the episode where Jordan from Subjam came by and we went through the app? You gotta check it out ASAP. They're looking for passionate people like you to beta test their new iOS app and help shape the future of music. Join them by visiting subj.am/beta today. Let's make some noise together. Binary Recording Studio is a versatile space designed to cater to all music genres. And when I say all, I mean all. If you're into jazz, rock, hip-hop, or anything in between, Binary is equipped to bring your music to life. With the expert engineering and the best setup, my boy Bob, he can capture the essence of whatever you are wanting to create and bring it, just to reality. From there, book your session today. Unleash your creativity at Binary Recording
some
Studio.
very
For real.
good
My boy
friends
Bob,
along with him.
Yes.
Yes.
Who you got here today?
I have No Guts
And
here
welcome back.
tonight. We have Andy and Justin from the newly reformed or newly off hiatus No Guts, sort of. Yeah.
Off hiatus. Yeah.
You guys just did your album release for an album that came out 3.5 years ago.
That's fair.
Yeah, is it?
That's dope, man.
I delegate this question to Justin.
Yeah. I like to call it an album celebration show.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. So,
Yeah.
we'll get into the who No Guts are and the kind of rigmarole from the past and whatnot. But, you just played this show. Tell us and everybody listening about that process of putting the record out and then just having the world shut down and not ever getting to even celebrate what y'all had done. Go ahead, Andy. Or-
Me?
Yes.
I'll go first. So I don't know. I put the band. I mean, I can't speak for the other two members who aren't here, but we this whole album was a process. It was a 5-year process. I think the first song I wrote for it was called Year 30 Drinking Song, and I'm 37 now. And so that's actually 7 years then. As if you, well, yeah, sorry, let me do some math from the release date. Yeah, see, this whole 3-year gap thing is messing with you,
Well,
right?
yeah.
We did have a joke on the night of the show that, Andrew came up with about, let's just pretend it's 2019 and just like the world's not going to shut down. And go down. And but anyway, that's just to say that this last 3.5 years have been a stretched out blur, I think a lot of people. But anyway,
So you put out the record, December?
It was December 2019.
Yeah, 2019, because I remember it was up for the What's Up Awards, the last ever What's Up Award. I think I had it in for best record.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, because it was really good. And then you didn't do a release off of that. I mean, things started even shutting down, I guess, what it was, mid-March. So
Yeah, we played a couple shows early 2020. I think our last show before the pandemic was the end of February. And so we had been playing those shows all along, but we never had an official release for the album.
Right.
It was sort of to be planned.
Right.
And then all plans stopped. And so we kind of just were left with this thing that we all felt passionately about and dumped so much time and effort into. And we just felt like it needed a little celebration.
what took so long to get to this point?
I mean, referring to the...
Why did it take you 3.5 years instead of 2,
Oh.
for example?
Oh, yeah. Well, I think that the spark that sort of lit that fire, to me anyway, was the What's Up reunion show that got also delayed, and, I honestly thought that we were done. Like, I'll just say that right now. Like, I thought we were done because it seemed like a natural conclusion. We put all this work. We made this what we're considering our best stuff that we've ever done, and the stuff that took the most out of us emotionally anyway, in the song content. And I decided for me anyway, that like it probably seemed like, well, music's probably not going to be the same anymore. So I sort of lived in that mindset while rebuilding after 2020, and for reasons that I'd have to rebuild. But the point is that when the What's Up show came around, we were given a reason to play again, and a reason, an avenue to see the people, how they react to the music, and to see how the community that we were a part of, that was built by everyone around us, we don't want to be done with that. And so when I got to get re-immersed in that, it felt like it was possible to grow again. So that's why 3 years, because it took you a little while.
But how was that moment? Like right then, like that first performance back?
The first performance back was, for me, nerve-wracking.
I can imagine.
Yeah, I did not. Yeah, I
You actually bent your neck.
I did. Yeah, I had a weird
There's a photo of Andy, and his neck is somehow at a 90-degree angle that makes no sense. Like
I was doing a headbang or something.
Yeah, the way that bodies are supposed to work at all.
That just sounds like passion to me.
Yeah.
No, it's just a weird picture, man. I mean,
it was okay. So Tommy Calderon, right? He takes
who's an amazing photographer,
wonderful photographer. Yeah. He snapped this photo, and this neck bending thing is an artifact of this picture. I'm on the far right of it, but there's so much amazingness in this particular shot because it's like the wide frame, and then you have the stage on the left, on the right third, but then on the left, it's like the whole crowd, and you can see like the direction that everyone is moving. And Brent's got this weird ghost dancing behind him too.
That's right. Yeah.
And it's just this really interesting, moving, literally and figuratively sort of photo that Tommy takes, and is just wonderful. And that neck bending thing though was just the very last song. Right. The very last time Justin and I actually needed to play perfectly in sync with one another, and we did. And so I was just like taking a step back and like dipping my head down, sort of chuckling, and I didn't realize how deep the dip was, I guess. So,
that show was just phenomenal, and you guys were just absolutely killed it. Was that the spark the band needed to then, I mean, that's kind of what you're getting at, was the spark y'all needed to pick up the instruments more regularly and spend time with each other?
Honestly, I think the preparation leading up to that show, I think we all kind of knew immediately that that's what we had been missing in our lives for the last 3.5
Right.
years. You know, like, yeah, the first practice we stepped in together was rough. It was rough. But then, you know, the second practice we got tighter, and people were like, yo, I feel happier, you know, like day to day. Like,
Yeah.
I look forward to coming and
Bringing
playing
the
this
music
again.
back into the life.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was such a great energy. And we should make note that Ryan Bailey and Andrew Wild are not here today. I wish both of them were here so I could give them big hugs, because I miss them, especially Ryan Bailey. Yeah.
Yeah, he became a firefighter.
He is a firefighter. He's really happy to see him go through that process.
That's also why 3 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, you know, doing new stuff, you know, building up new skills, trying to be better people, different people.
Yeah, everybody kind of grew during that time.
Yeah. Went back to school. A couple people did.
Yeah. Well, then let's step back just for the people who aren't familiar with the band. You know, y'all are from the Midwest, and you came here roughly at the same time, if I'm remembering.
I got here first, but I met them a year after they moved here.
And when was that?
So I was here as of 2008.
Okay.
And I think,
And then we moved here. We, as in the other three, moved in 2010.
gotcha.
And then did you all live together at the?
No, actually, I was just
Little
having this
Wisco?
conversation yesterday with Joel Olmsted, actually, of another Bellingham legacy there. But I was kind of commenting on how our group got together from various work scenes. And so I was just sort of musing about the fact that there's a lot of bands that have ties to specific workplaces in Bellingham.
Right.
Like, I feel like Black Guys and Neckties is tied to Round Table Pizza somehow.
Right.
And we're, you know, tied to like T-Mobile and Taco Bell.
The call center or like
The
retail?
call center.
Bro,
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
talk to me.
It was not a great job. Actually, that's where I met Andrew Wild, is, you know, and many of the people who would frequent the Wisco, because the Wisco was down the street from the call center.
No, Wisco was just a place you all had house shows at
Yeah.
regularly, which is now Costco.
It's gone, yeah, and he
gone.
lived there, so I'll let him describe the Wisco, so it
Yeah.
doesn't sound like I'm making fun of it.
Yeah, no, the Little Wisconsin was a great place. It was the first house off of Pacific Highway we all moved into when we first got into Bellingham, and you know, it was originally a place where we could practice and hold shows, and then through the years it turned into so much more. It
kind of
just
became a mecca. I remember, you know, as doing the magazine, even before I knew you guys, knowing of that spot because the house shows were happening and people were so excited. And I'd see photos from Tommy or somebody like that, and everybody was going crazy and just having an incredible time.
yeah,
So
it's-
kind of drew in musicians and artists and
It was
creatives.
It was out of the way enough that cops wouldn't bother us for being loud, but it was close enough that people could get there, and that
important
was
parts.
that was huge. And it also became a really easy way to host touring bands, and so a lot of the California bands and Oregon bands who wanted to go up and down I-5. You know, in addition to Seattle, of course, and Tacoma and all the rest of I-5, but they would all pop in and say, yeah, here, this is a great spot we get to play. And we were able, I say we, because I was the one talking to the bands, checking with the guys who were living there, be like, you guys want to have a house show this time of the month? And they're like, yeah, sure, we're not doing anything. And so then we'd arrange it, and that would be that. And we were able to do that pretty consecutively for, you know, 2 years or so. And so that adds up, you know.
Right.
24 months, you know, 24-ish shows. I don't know how, if there was more or less, but I wasn't really counting. I'm just doing some math real quick.
And then Costco came in.
Yeah, I mean, but that place needed to be moved out of anyway.
Right.
yeah, I think even before Costco showed up, I think it started with a non-lease renew and then they left, and it sat vacant for a little while, and then bulldozed, and then sat vacant for even longer. And then Costco is actually on the other side of the road. And then, so like where the Little Wisconsin lot is, there's actually just a northbound interstate on-ramp that cuts through basically our backyard.
Oh, wow. Okay.
What used to be the backyard.
What used to be the backyard.
Yeah.
Wow. Cool.
It's
Well,
crazy.
I'm mad I missed this.
oh, yeah.
I'm upset for you.
I was sitting
Yeah.
at home with
I think
like
you would've had a
little
great
younger
time.
kids, so I didn't get to the house shows that much. But like I could live vicariously through photographers and bands that were talking about it, and and then becoming friends with Andy. Andy and I actually were business partners for, I don't know, 3-4 years.
Depends.
So I don't know what the starting point was, but
23 years. Yeah, it was 3 years.
3 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hot sauce.
Hot sauce. Yes. It's really good hot sauce. Really good hot sauce.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it was fun to kind of, over the years, especially get to know Andy and try to get him to play covers that I wanted played that Andrew wouldn't play. And then.
Yeah, he's not here to defend himself.
Yeah,
but-
and I'm really great with that because Elton John is actually awesome. So.
I feel like this was a debate.
I
That's
do like
the
Elton
only
John.
inside joke I'm going to go for the rest of the day. Do you all have any questions? Because I'm just blabbing along.
Do you guys have anything else coming up? What's the next step, I guess?
We are definitely working on writing new music. Our roadblock right now is finding a consistent practice space. It's a big challenge right now. Trying to find a spot and a day that is ours we're just constantly making deals with other bands to steal their practice times, and so we're working on it.
Yeah.
But we do definitely have some new material that is, in the rough stages right now. But
Yeah.
Does it feel good?
To
Does
write.
it feel good to write again as a quartet and to kind of
Yeah.
as more grown up, you've gone through all this kind of stuff together and come out years later with the new kind of sense of each other and sense of the communication and the dynamics of the band.
Actually, I will speak to that a little bit. The communication is crazy different.
Yeah.
And I did not expect that to be something that happened, but pandemic and, emotional, like Phoenix Rising kind of thing will do that to a person. But yeah, the way that I feel like we speak to one another in the musical setting is way different now. When the pandemic hit, we stopped playing shows. We started playing Dungeons and Dragons together, actually, instead. So we actually used that as a band bonding tool, and so we were able to stay really close friends and whatnot without the music, which is what previously, at least from my perspective, was the glue holding our group together. Was this impetus to sort of come and create together. But we were doing the same thing. It's just now we were doing it with make believe instead of, trying to write something to make a point or like have some emotional catharsis. So now, though, that is to say that the communication is easier. It's like I can talk to Ryan in ways I couldn't 7 years ago.
Right.
Andrew is, talking to me in ways he hasn't, before. And very subtle things that maybe outsiders wouldn't really notice or even care about, but it's just stuff that, like, internally I think has been a really good evolution.
Makes it more enjoyable.
That's that right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
That's that love, man.
Yeah,
That's that
no,
love.
it is. It really is. I think it truly is, and I think a lot of us are having sort of moments in our life where we're allowing ourselves to speak about that kind of stuff a little easier. I mean, there's a band like Idols that I think is a perfect representation of like
so
what
good.
like dudes in the hardcore scene should be like. Just like, and so I mean, I think that's an evolution in how we are as people, which is going to transfer into who we are as a band. Trying to make sure everyone's doing okay in what was a chaotic time in a chaotic scene where if all we're doing is singing about sad stuff and we never give anybody any solutions, well, we're just going to leave the world a whole lot more sad, aren't we?
Right.
So I would rather not do that anymore. have a little bit of an emotional revolution.
Sure.
Along with a political one.
Oh, that's awesome.
Just kidding.
But hey, sometimes doing the sad songs, it really just creates comfort for somebody else to let them know that somebody else feels that same way too.
That's the idea. I mean, that's absolutely the idea behind them, is making sure someone feels that they're not alone.
Hey, still make a couple sad joints, but hey, still have that revolution. I support both. I support all of it, baby.
Yeah. I don't want to speak for Andrew. I keep thinking Andrew's going to be on the right side of Justin, but like he's the one who's like, I don't want to be sad band anymore. I want to be angry band again. Let's do that for a minute. And
The stage is to emotions.
yeah, we're multidimensional. That's for sure.
So, I guess that's. I've got nothing else for you guys. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Pick up the record.
Yeah, that's exactly what my next thing
Yeah.
was going to be. So, 4033 is available just at all the local online places, or not all the local, but all the online places.
Streaming, definitely Spotify, Tidal, Apple Music. We've got our CDs
Bandcamp.
that are for sale. Bandcamp for sure.
Yeah.
And then at our shows, right? Justin did this amazing investment in our band to actually get a merch table. That's
Sweet.
been a running joke between me and some old space mates that we're the worst merch band ever, and we really were until Justin popped in and said, I'm going to get us a merch table. And if you don't come for our show up for the merch table.
Yeah.
Because it's like going to a punk rock farmer's market of one band.
Do you have any shows coming up that are already scheduled, or just TBA at this point?
I think our next scheduled show is at the Shakedown, September 9th.
Oh, okay. Hopefully it'll be one before then.
Yes. Yeah. We'd love to set something up in July, but it feels like without a solid practice space and time, we haven't really had a chance to work on our new music because we've constantly been playing catch up, trying to get rehearsed for our next upcoming show. Yeah. And so it's just kind of kept us like juggling.
Yeah.
So it's kind of nice looking forward to having like a July with no shows that we could actually put some effort into new music.
Right.
In due time, though. In due time, it's all coming together. It sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if anybody has a practice space that No Guts can utilize, please reach out to the band.
Yeah, we'll take it.
We would be grateful.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's about it from here, right?
I mean, from right here, all I know is I'm gonna just go ahead and tap in, hit that download button, and I'm gonna, I gotta peep it. I gotta see what's going on.
So good. I love
Thank you
that
for having
record.
us.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah,
Thanks
thank
for
you
coming
guys
down.
for enjoying our first podcast episode. So
Yeah. This is an
Honestly, I
experience.
can't think of anybody else I'd rather have it than with you guys. And I wish Andrew and Ryan were here. I mean, I just, I love your band, and as individuals, I love you all very much. So I'm so excited you could be part of this.
We'll be right back after these messages. We'd like to give a special thanks to Lost Giant Cider Company, always providing us with our cider beverages and the best of the cider beverages. Visit Lost Giant's Tap Room in the heart of Bellingham at 1200 Meter Avenue in the Haskell Business Center. It's just down the street from Lakeway Fred Meyer. Menace Brewing, located in the Fountain District, is where flavor is unleashed. It serves as a local hub of craft beer and community. Recognized as the neighborhood's premier soccer hangout, I love me some soccer. Menace Brewing isn't just a brewery, it's the go-to spot for sports action and local engagement. Visitors can catch the game, connect with fellow fans, and immerse themselves in the heart of the spirited community. Menace Brewing invites everyone to join them, where every visit feels like coming home. Experience Menace Brewing in Bellingham today. And welcome back. Unfortunately, we were not able to see as many shows as we wanted to this weekend. Ended up doing quite a bit, like back to back to back. There was this one show at the Makeshift. I know Actress was playing there, and I was entirely excited to see it, but then got booked in Seattle. So, hey, next time I promise. Hey,
Yep.
I will make that show. But, even though we didn't make it to anything this weekend, we do have some really cool stuff coming up. You want to tell them about it?
starting off really strong, we have Cash McLean's album release at Black Noise Records. Him and OG Neeks are releasing Ben Dusty. So that make sure you're there. It's going to be at the record shop, so it's going to be a family affair. Did you want to give the little sneak peek about the album?
1230 Bay Street, we're going to be there. Basically, this album, it kind of just encapsulates the night that Black Noise opened up for Jizz. It was like a takeover, and the whole crew was on stage. And it's just a beautiful piece of work. It's straight off the vinyl. You can tell, like, every sample is so well put together. The drums are dusty. His bars, the way he's rapping is very, he goes in depth with a lot of emotions in his most unique way. He's a very metaphor-driven guy, and I love it. But yeah, so definitely come out there to the 23rd, and it's going to be crazy at Black Noise Records. But also, let's say you want to have a different flavor. Guess what else happened on the 23rd? At Blue Room, we have Cat Valley, Rat Queen, and Harbor Day. That is going to be a groovy show, like 10 out of 10 recommend as well. Because I'm a big fan of Cat Valley as well as Harbor Day. I need to learn about Rat Queen. You know what? That might be a good time.
There you go.
Get to know them all. Coming in after that on the Saturday, keeping your busy weekend, there's going to be the show at Boundary Bay with the Rhetorician. Do you want to tell us more about that, Chris?
Oh, let me tell you, man. So I'm really excited about this one. So Jordan Moss, the Rhetorician, he's been working on these episodes. So basically taking his EPs and converting them into short films. So now we're on the third one. And it's just the most sci-fi fantasy rap thing you've ever heard in your life. He feeds his cat mushrooms, grows to the size of a cat. He has to fight Smokey to get the hammer to save the forest land.
And he
Makes
incorporates
no sense.
all of his songs like throughout it. It's like the best way to put it, all of his creative brain into one episode.
Isn't he also releasing a beer
Yep.
at this
He
time?
is.
Like it's not just the music and everything that's going on that way,
Everything.
but he's working with Boundary Bay and is actually releasing a beer with this project.
I don't even really drink beer, but I'm going to be drinking it.
Hefeweizen, you know, it's based off of one of the songs in the first episode where he says, "Whoa there, Mr. Tim Tim," while he's riding his cat as a horse. And so now the beer is called Whoa there, Mr. Tim. So I can't wait to go to that bar and be like, "Hey, can I get one of those Whoa there's?"
Nice.
Oh, man. So I guess at this time we can probably just keep it moving and start reviewing a few of the projects.
Well, there's also on the 24th,
Oh, okay.
Earth is playing at the Shakedown. Do I have that right? I sure hope I do.
I think you are correct.
Yeah, Earth is playing at the Shakedown, and they are one of the just weirdest, sonically drony, beautiful, long songs.
I love that.
Yeah, it's a very weird thing that the Dylan Carlson's dad was my political science teacher at Whatcom Community College, like years and years and years ago. So I knew about him and the band before, like, they had actually exploded on anything. So it was just a rad, amazing band.
Oh,
so,
no, I'm actually really
it's
interested.
a really weird, drony music, but
'Cause-
punishing and gorgeous.
As soon as you said that, I started thinking of Cirrus. Mm-hmm. They're opening.
Are they?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
I believe part of some of the members are from Anacortes and whatnot.
Yeah.
And,
I
I remember seeing them at Banff, and that was at the quarry stage, just sitting there, just vibe,
Yeah.
just floating.
And do you know tickets are like going quick? So
It
if you
is
want to go,
just looking, it is officially sold out.
oh well, crap. Sorry.
Sorry, guys. Hey, but
Gotta
hey,
be quicker than that.
next
Maybe
time-
someone will open some tickets will open up at the last minute.
That'd be dope.
But yeah, that's what we have for this weekend.
Those are the highlights.
Those
There's
are the
plenty of
highlights.
music
There's
going
so
around.
much
Of
more
course,
we don't know.
and the thing is, it's like we talked about before we hit record. It's the end of June. This is going to be one of the very slowest times of the year, just like the last 2 weeks of December. That not a lot
Yeah.
of stuff is happening as far as live music, but get out to the different venues, get out, check calendars, see if there's some stuff we haven't had a chance to mention. And if you see something, let us know.
Send it our way. I like to share all of the shows that are happening on the Instagram, post it on the stories, and let everyone know.
Nice.
So even if it's not at any of the main locations, anything that's happening, we want to know about it.
Make it a one-stop shop. I love that.
There we go.
Well, shit. Looks like we made it.
We did.
We made it through.
First episode
Let's go.
down.
Let's go.
Yeah.
High fives all around.
All right, love it. Love
That's
it.
what I'm talking about. Man, it feels good.
It does.
It feels good. I mean,
Great interviews, great time.
Yep.
and it's always great hanging out with y'all.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited to see how this just grows over the weeks and weeks and weeks. Weeks, months, years. It'll just become its own entity. It's going to be awesome.
It's gonna blossom. And also, thank you to Pantsuitguy
Yep. And No Guts.
for coming through today and really making this episode special.
Yep.
We appreciate it tenfold. Just know that every week we will have a couple bands coming up. So next week, give you a little sneak peek. You've probably heard of them before. If you haven't heard them, you've heard them rehearsing from down the street. Analog Brass, one of my favorite bands, because they just bring the step, and they make me feel like I almost stomped the yard. I just. And then a very good friend of mine as well, the Rhetorician. He'll be coming in and talk about the Descent of the Zach Taylor episode 3 and all that good stuff.
So make sure you subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and follow us at Shut Up and Listen BHAM on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and anywhere else you listen to your podcast. You can follow us on there.
So shut up and listen, fool. I was kidding. Shut up and listen. It's produced by Rocket Soul Studios and recorded by Binary Recording Studio.
Yes.
See you next week, baby.
Thanks again for tuning in to Shut Up and Listen. For more captivating content, including videos, articles, and everything music related, visit our website at shutupbham.com. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button wherever you get your podcast and join the conversation by following us at Shut Up and Listen BHAM on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Shut Up and Listen is proudly produced by Rocket Soul and Binary Recording Studio. Stay tuned for more fantastic episodes.